Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Level Up Lando, the show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success. That is the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never ending effort of trying to level up. I am your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm coming to you from Truscott Studios, also known as my bedroom, right here in lovely Aspen, Colorado. Today is Thursday, November 6th at 1:52 p.m. on a somewhat cloudy, kind of gloomy fall winter-esque day here in Aspen as the sun is starting to peek out, but it has been mostly a cold gray morning as fall starts to near its end and winter comes ever closer. We're getting ready 2026 ski season. So, with that said, let's get you guys caught up on what's going on in my life. Backing up, let's see. We just came through Halloween, and the truth is, I've turned the corner. I hit success. Yeah! If we're leveling up, this is a big double pat on the back. I got the money in the account. I've been trying to get paid from this realtor, and I finally got paid. It was $4,500, and that's only half of what I'm owed. I'm owed $9,000. So it's a real relief to have found some success, to be able to say that I am successful, and then also to get all of the benefits that come with success. Namely, I can pay my bills. And, if I'm just being totally candid, this is the first time in a long time. I mean, since I taught English in South Korea in 2010, we're now in 2025. So in 15 years, this is the first time that I was able to pay my rent 2 months ahead of time, on top of which I was also able to pay all of my bills and get really caught up. And I still have $1,000 left. So, big deal for me. Yay, Landon. That said, I got November's rent covered. Today is the 7th, and I got December's rent covered. So we're good through the new year. In addition to which, I also got all my bills paid: electricity, car insurance, rent. Uh, I just changed the oil on my truck. That's another level up. Yeah, I tried to change it a while ago. I did change the oil, but I couldn't get the filter off. And so I ended up just leaving it on there. And that's never good to do, but you can do it for like one oil change. You can let it continue to just use a dirty filter. And that's what I've done. And it's been about 3,000 miles, and needed to get the oil changed. So yesterday I was able to crawl up underneath it, and I ended up having to remove the skid plate to get to the oil filter with two hands so that I could turn it and get it off, which it took a lot longer than it should have, but I did it. And so, yay. Level up Lando. Now the truck, and oh my God, the engine just sounds like it's running so much better with fresh oil in there. So just love that I'm taking care of my stuff, and that it should continue to run for a lot longer because it's a great truck. So that's definitely a win in my world. But coming back to getting paid, that was on Friday, which was actually Halloween. And so it's kind of cool when Red Letter Day or a milestone moment happens on a national holiday, because you get to anchor that memory and that experience to that holiday. And so for me, Halloween 2025 is the day that I finally became financially successful. And I am declaring to myself, to my audience, and to the universe that my days of being broke are over. And so that's all a life that I've already lived, and it's all behind me. And the truth is, it's really exciting. It's really exciting to not only have enough money to be able to support and take care of myself and not have to worry how I'm going to make ends meet, but now it's allowing me to do is finally help and give back and be of contribution to my community. And that is something that I've had a craving to be able to do for a long time. But when you're drowning and you're trying to just keep your own head above water, it's hard to even consider how you could help and be of service and make a contribution to anybody other than yourself. And so I'm really excited to have risen off of the survivor level And now I'm into the thriver level. And at the thriver level, I am able to be of contribution. And it's a great feeling. It really is, I got to say. Not to just, not on the one hand, I don't have to worry about my financial situation. But on the other hand, I also get to, now that I don't have to worry about it, help. I get to help other people, and I get to, give of myself and of my time. And I gotta say, it feels really good. What it feels like is I'm accessing my highest potential. I'm finally living into a version of myself that I've been yearning for and called to do, but just have not been able to practically be able to implement anything in my reality that lets me do that. Speaking of implementing things into my reality, it is really neat to watch yourself evolve. I'm 43 years old, and for a lot of my life, I made real short sighted, selfish, egotistical, self absorbed decisions. I'm a hedonist. I really enjoy pleasure. And so, for a good chunk of my life, I'd say, if I'm 43, I'd say for probably 30 of the 43 years, I, I ran towards pleasure and away from pain. And it wasn't until I was about 33, so about 10 years ago, that I started to realize that I had done myself a huge disservice by avoiding responsibility and avoiding doing difficult things. And at 33, I made a mental shift where I decided I needed to start learning how to be responsible. And unfortunately for me, I was about a decade behind all of my friends who started taking on responsibility and building a life towards responsibility at 23. So by the time that they were 33, they had careers, they had wives, they had children, they had houses. And at 33, I was only just beginning that journey, and I've been about 10 years behind. So it makes sense that now here I am at 43, and I'm finally starting to find some semblance of success. It takes about 10 years of trying to build a life before you start to see that life be the life that you're living. At least for me, it's taken 10 years. Hopefully, you can do it faster. But every time that I've set out to achieve a dream, it's taken plus or minus 10 years. And in that way, I can see that I've started to make decisions that are for the long term vision and that are for this delayed gratification. And that I've started to embrace the suffering of my day so that I can make tomorrow better. And that I'm sacrificing my today so that I can make my future a happier, better one where I'm not so broke. And we did it. This business was an amazing pursuit that on this last Friday, this October 31st, um, I got the money in the account. And it's been a game changer to be able to pay my rent for November and December, to be able to catch up on all my bills, and to be able to still have money left over to go buy food and upgrade my life is such a welcome change from what is the ordinary struggle and uphill battle of challenges and adversity. And now it feels like I made it to the ridge line. I'm on the top now, and maybe there's more to go. I still got a lot longer on the journey, but it's not this uphill battle. I'm at the top, and now I'm kind of going along sideways, and it's much easier to traverse. It's a much easier landscape for me to navigate, to see what's coming, because I have a tiny little financial cushion. It's not even that big, and there's a big part of me that is still concerned. I don't want to celebrate too early, but the fact is, I was been waiting for this money to get my account, and now it's in there. So I've celebrated. I've definitely vented. I've done my woohoos, and really got to revel and experience some of the joy that comes with finding success. And now here we are, almost a week later, and it's back to the grind. It's back to getting that business and making the business go, and finding ways to continue to create this level of income. And so, I guess what I'm getting at is that I spent that time. I did get to celebrate. I did get to experience the victory. But just like, a professional team that wins the championships, shortly after the championship celebration is over, you start to look at next year's season and how are we going to win it again? And that's what I'm doing. I'm already back into this season. The season was just the weekend. And so now it's back to it. And it feels good. It feels really good to be negotiating and navigating my life from a place of stability and not worry and anxiety of if this is going to work or not. I now have the validation, and now I just have to continue to follow up with it and continue to build off of this foundation that I've built. That said, I've started incorporating habits. I did my 2 mile run today. Today was day 95. I set out to do 100 days running, and that was after doing 100 days skiing last winter season. And one of the things I found in that process is that a 100-day goal is a really great amount of time. It's about a third of the year, and it is also long enough that you can accomplish something, but not so long that it feels intimidating or daunting. Today was day 95 of running, and when I set out to run 100 days back on day one, I didn't think that it was going to be this impossible task. That said, now that I'm at 95, I am tired. I am ready to be done, and I'm ready to change the goal to a new 100-day goal, which the truth is that running 100 days has really helped me. It's given me something to put on my horizon every single day. It's giving me something to set out to accomplish every single day. It's given me all the health benefits that come with being pretty fit and in shape after running it's 2.4 miles. So after running that every day, and somewhere in the process, I started doing 100 push-ups a day as well, which I've probably done 60 days of 100 push-ups, maybe 70 if today's day 95 of running. And so I'm in particularly good shape. And a lot of this is coming out of this random game I just made up about trying to get to do 100 days of anything, whatever I pick. And so when I get to the end of this 100 days of running, I think I'm going to switch to 100 days of doing some sort of an exercise, pull-ups, or single leg Bulgarian split squats, which are the two exercises that I really like the least. And this is what I was saying before, is that I've learned to incorporate into my day doing things I don't want to do, doing things that are hard, doing things that help me to overcome myself because I really don't want to do them. And so I put them at the front of my day. I put them at the start of my day so that I can just start my day off with what I call a win, and as far as this is something I don't want to do and I'm going to do it anyway. And I think that's that mentality that I started to cultivate and developed almost 10 years ago. And now here we are nearly 10 years later, and I'm really seeing a lot of the benefit from voluntarily choosing to do hard things. And so recently I've started to read more, and that's been an interesting addition in my life, as far as I don't like how much TV I watch. And so I'm trying to limit the amount of TV that I'm watching and limit it to mostly at night. And in that limiting of it, I have a lot more time in my day, which is why I'm trying to do these other things that are both hard but good for me. And so reading is another one that I've recently started to do. I'm reading Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins, and he's a fantastic writer, and I'm a writer. So it's really fun to read somebody who, his writing style is so much different than mine. And it's a really interesting style. He's sort of creatively all over the place, but he ties it together in a way where you wonder where he's going, and then he brings it all together, and you're like, wow, that was a really neat way to get to this point. And he's just constantly doing that. So I'm learning a lot reading him, and he definitely has a skill set around describing kind of like a different era, a different time, a time when like there was kings and queens. And it's interesting to see how you can see his own passion for that type of stuff come through in his writing. Because I couldn't write like that, because I don't know about like that time on humanity very, very much. I don't know about what it was like to be a king or a knight or anything like that, or to be a leader of an ancient tribe or something like that. And when you do know that kind of stuff, it makes it a lot easier to communicate. So that's why I write what I know, which is about my life and about my own worldview and perspectives, and trying to stay positive in a world that is often very negative, but only if you choose to see it that way. And if you don't choose to see it that way, even the negative is positive. So it's taken learning to embrace the suffering, and it's taken suffering through the suffering and turning it from suffering to joy, and recognizing that when I'm going through the adversity and the difficulty of life, that it's all beneficial to me, and that there's an opportunity to grow and learn and become more aware. And all those things are absolutely what I'm up to when my eyes open and I start my day. So it's been really cool to watch myself evolve. It's been really cool to watch myself make life choices like not drinking alcohol. I drank on Halloween, and so it's not like I'm 100% dead sober, but it's like I am like 98% dead sober. And that has got a massive impact on my life. And again, it's freed up my time in a way where I'm filling that time with positive habits, positive choices that are helping to both further my business, upgrade the quality of my life, or maintain and take care. Those are all things that I really like to focus on. It's easy for me. It's not hard for me to not want to drink alcohol because of how good I feel when I don't drink it. It's not hard for me to want to go for a run because I enjoy the process of doing that run and having my moment of gratitude and being grateful and setting my day up. It's not hard for me to read a book because I would rather be doing that than watching TV. And the next thing that I'm going to be trying to do here is start playing more music. I really want to improve on the guitar, and I'm already pretty decent, but I've sort of plateaued. So that's that. Now let's take a moment and go ahead and jump into the Little Green Book of Accountability as we try to write out what we've got to get done for the day. And this is how we try to keep ourselves accountable. 11/7/25. All right, let's see. We got business. We have to edit for Doug. We got to write a couple of stories. Right. We got a new bagel shop in town. Bagel shop and dating with. And I had that matchmaker on my podcast. I want to write an article about that, see if I can send her some love. We need to do the business plan, budget, and P&L. We need a clear memory. I got the Silver City Cycle guys, their memory, so I should be able to get rid of all that. We got to deal with the drone. Still dealing with that. What else? I'm trying to get a job working for Ski Co. Doing what I'm doing for the Aspen Drone Company, content management, which would be cool because that was $70,000, 60 to 70 base pay. I would go for 70 because I got a lot of experience and expertise in the field. And then I would get a ski pass. So that would be sweet to have a base rate of 70 grand, still get to fly the drone. That would give me access to flying the drone on the mountain, which currently I can't do. Let's see. Meetings I've got. Michael, got to talk to my mentor. Heidi and Raul, my AI guy. I'm learning about how to use AI. Hopefully we can get it to do some editing for me. We got to research the editor, Fiverr or VA. Let's see, Steely Dead. Got to update the logo, get some business cards. I want to make an app for this blog and podcast that I'm doing all about Aspen. And I need to renew my FAA drone pilot license. Now, on the upside, I did, looking at the last one, I needed to organize my apartment, and we have done that, you guys. This is a huge level up. So we're going to go ahead and pat ourselves on the back for this. Yay! So one of the things that happens when I get the money is that I'm now able to purge. I'm now able to go through like all of my stuff, all of my belongings, and really get rid of anything that I don't need and or use. Whereas once upon a time, I sort of hoarded everything I have because I couldn't afford to replace it. That was just the stark truth of the situation. Is I couldn't afford to replace anything, and which is why all of the stuff that I have in my life is secondhand. Down to my silverware, and even my shoes and things like that are used. I got them from the thrift store, and so it's nice to be able to go through and get rid of a bunch of this stuff that's kind of junky and secondhand and has holes in it and stains and is torn. But I would keep it and use it because it still works. Just because my torn cuffs on the heel, I walk on the heels because the pants are a little too long because they're secondhand pants, doesn't mean they don't work. So now I can get rid of that stuff. It's gone. I've gone through it, all my apartment, and it's really nice to be living in a very clean, orderly place. I still need to buy a few more organizational utensils to be able to just clean up some of the clutter around my place. But other than that, the place is dialed in. And I just took it from, I would say, like 85% to where I want it to like 95% where I want it. And there's this 5% left that I got to, like I said, buy some organizational bins so that I can just store these papers and random things like this photo stock card. So one of the things I want to do is I want to start printing out hard photos for my clients and put them in an Aspen drone company picture frame and give that to these people, give that to the realtor so that when he sells the house, he can give it to the people and they'll have like a still photo of their beautiful home that I shot, just as a thank you, as a thanks for doing business with me. So that's what these are for. And so then I got to be able to print these on my printer, which I tried to do, and the printer isn't a very good printer for that. So I might have to get a new printer soon. But now I'm already starting to envision all these different things. I'm getting ready to buy a new drone. I'm looking at paying for an editor, which is going to level up my quality of my final videos. I'm going to be able to go to Costco soon and do a Costco run and buy a bunch of food, like bulk food, and as well as maybe upgrade my couch and my furniture. So things are finally starting to flow. Things are finally starting to reach a point where I've established myself to some level of consistency and stability. And it feels really good. It feels really good to be in that kind of a position and to be able to afford my life, which is new and very welcome. Very, very welcome. So with that, we will go ahead and move into the Daily Stoic. This is 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Thank you, gentlemen, for putting this book together. It's helpful to me, and I read it to my audience because I believe that it'd be helpful to them. So before we jump in here, I like to let you into my mental state so that you can see how it impacts my mental state immediately, which is why I love this book so much. So thanks, guys. So let's see, mental state. I am feeling good. I'm feeling positive, upbeat. I'm feeling accomplished. I'm feeling successful. I'm feeling ultimately the root of how I'm feeling is relieved. I'm feeling like I finally achieved at least some semblance of success enough to feel confident that I'm turning a page on the time in my life when I was in poverty and could barely afford anything. And I'm now embracing and welcoming and drawing to me a life that is filled with abundance, wealth, and richness, which I've already really had with the exception of the money. And so now the money piece is coming into play, and it just feels so good. It feels so good to not have to worry if I can afford food. It feels so good to have my rent paid 2 months ahead of time. It feels so good to not have to worry when I see how much the bill is if I can afford to pay it or not. And it feels really good to have money left over. It feels really good to be able to start thinking into the future about how I can be of help and be of service. And, right now it's a lot of fantasy and it's a lot of dreaming, but it's interesting to watch how the dream changes as what becomes potentially realistic changes along with my financial situation. So feeling really proud of myself, feeling like I leveled up, giving myself pats on the back. And it's really nice to be on the other side of anxiety and concern and worry, and to know that I didn't just magically wake up here one day. I worked my ass off and went through a lot of really, really difficult times to get here. And now that I'm here, I feel like the difficult times are over. There will be more difficult times ahead, but it'll be on another level. It'll be on a level where, one of the guys that I like to listen to, Alex Hormozy, says, the hardest part is in the beginning when you're a man with a stick fighting a bear. And he's like, now later on, you're going to end up fighting a dragon. And you'd think that the dragon would be harder to fight than the bear. But by the time that you get to the dragon, you're going to have a 7-nation army and nuclear weapons. And so what is in your arsenal to be able to fight the dragon is going to make it an actually easier fight, which is when you're just a man with a stick against a bear. And so I feel like I've slayed the bear, and now I've got dragons on my horizon, but I'm continuing to build my arsenal of nuclear weapons as I also start to create my 7-nation army that'll make taking out the dragon just the push of a button. So, the other thing that I really like about my situation is that this is the hardest it was ever going to be. It'll only get easier, and it only has gotten easier, and it will only continue to get easier as I get more money. So I'm feeling quite a bit of relief to think that the hard part is over and that I've established my business. I have a steady client. I'm looking for another one. But for right now, the bills are getting paid. So let's see what the Daily Stoic has to say. I think the last time we checked in was on October 29th. Now it's November 7th, right? 7th? I want to read the right day. Oh, it's the 6th. See? That's why you got to check. It's the 6th, not the 7th. Okay, here we go. November 6th. Someone else is spinning the thread. If the breaking day sees someone proud, the ending day sees them brought low. No one should put too much trust in triumph. No one should give up hope of trials improving. Clotho mixes one with the other and stops. Fortune from resting, spinning every fate around. No one has had so much divine favor that they could guarantee themselves tomorrow. God keeps our lives hurtling on, spinning in a whirlwind. Seneca, Thyestes 6:13. The novelist Cormac McCarthy was living in a motel room when he heard a knock at the door. It was a messenger. He'd been awarded the MacArthur Genius Grant and $250,000. Unexpected events can be good as well as bad. Who could dream of such an unexpected twist? Who but Clotho, one of the 3 Greek goddesses of fate who spins the thread of human life. To the ancients, she was the one who decided the course of the events of our lives, some good, some bad. As the playwright Aeschylus, when the gods send evil, one cannot escape it. The same was true for great destiny and good fortune. Their resigned attitude might seem strange to us today, but they understood who was really in control. Not them, not us. No amount of prosperity, no amount of difficulty is certain or forever. A triumph becomes a trial becomes a triumph. Life can change in an instant. Remember today how often it does. And see, this is again why I love this book so much. How much does that align with what I was just sharing with you? The idea that a trial can become a triumph, and vice versa, and that you don't want to put too much, you don't want to vest too much in your victory. I feel like I got to celebrate. I got the money in the account. Now the money's mostly gone, and so it's back to going to work. It's back to turning the trial into a triumph before the triumph becomes a trial. And I really like that. I really like that, your life can change in a moment. And so that's what gives me hope. That's what gives me the excitement and the optimism when my eyes open in the morning and I wake up in my dope, comfy bed in my amazing house. How grateful I feel for another opportunity to try to make my life better than it was yesterday. And in that process, to try to become a better version of me than I was yesterday. Hence the whole concept of this show, Level Up Lando. This is what I do. I try to be better than I was yesterday. And some days I fail. Some months I fail. Some years I fail. Sometimes you're trying to make progress and you just can't get out of your own way. And so if that's you today, I hope that you can take away from the Daily Stoic and my examples that it is still temporary. And even though sometimes it feels like it's a long time and that there is no hope, I can vouch for that. I've just gone through one of the darkest tunnels I've ever come through. And not only did I finally hit the light, now I'm out. Now I'm out of the tunnel and we're back into the open air mountainous range of success as we continue to climb. But there was a long time there where it was dark and I couldn't see the way forward. And I was just trusting that as long as I continued to stumble forward, I would eventually reach the end of it. And I have. And it feels really good. And so that's where I will send you out into your day with the idea that trials turn to triumph and triumph turns to trial. Like the story that they shared. The writer was living in a motel writing, being a broke writer, when a knock at the door gave him $250,000. So that's how quickly life can turn around. You can be down in the dumps and really suffering and enduring, and then 1 second later have all of that relieved and you're on top of the world. And so keep working, keep fighting, keep staying optimistic. Recognize that your trials can turn to triumphs and that your triumphs can turn to trials. And so it's important to just stay true to who you are, trust yourself, believe that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even when it's really hard, even when it's really difficult. And just remember that this too shall pass. Nothing is forever. And so no matter how hard it is, no matter how much pain and suffering there is, it's all leading you towards a new day and a better life. So embrace it, enjoy it. And with that, I'm your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm